Life in the city starts at the center. Life in the city at the Eaton Centre. Life in the city starts
Need more songs for things that open up. If you open a building in Toronto, you need to have a theme song. That was Life in the City, the jingle composed by Terry Bush for the opening of the Eaton Centre. The mall opened 40 years ago this month. It's one of the city's favorite places to hang out. It's also been the scene of a couple of shootings that rocked this city. It's still one of the city's biggest tourist draws. And so Mary Wiens went down to the mall to speak with some visitors on their first visit. She started with the writer, though, Jamie Blackburn. He wrote a piece about the Eaton Centre for Torontoist.
My early memories are like coming down with my parents. Like we would visit my grandparents because I grew up down the Windsor area. Just as a kid, I was always awed by just roaming around this mall. Like just the big Eaton sign coming in from the other side. The weirdest thing I remember was I always used to insist when my dad would bring me downtown, there was a little food court where there was like a place, I think it was called Mr. Burger. They had like potato puffs. And for me, like ordering potato puffs from a fast food place was a novelty. And it was the thing I loved doing when I came here. I came down to Toronto on a school trip in grade 8. And it was sort of suggested, the safe place to stay was like the Eaton Centre because it was like safe and enclosed and everything. But they also recommended you got to go out on Yonge Street to go see the head shops and get like the rock t-shirts and such. Which I suspect some of my classmates is like, ooh, it's a nice little element of danger. We get to go onto Yonge Street. Woohoo!
It's interesting, when you mention that, because I came in the 80s when, it really was a scuzzy main street, the low ebb in the 80s.
One of the roles is it sort of has demonstrated like how Toronto's downtown has remained vibrant when many other North American cities didn't. Because a lot of other North American cities did the same tack. They thought a downtown mall would revive their fortunes, and in almost every case they flopped. While the Eaton Centre, on the other hand, has prospered and grown over those 40 years and still remains, it's still one of Toronto's biggest tourist attractions. So we're coming out of the Nordstrom store now into where the Trinity Square entrance, where it's the preservation of Church of the Holy Trinity.
And the Galleria is still so satisfying to look at, isn't it?
And actually where we're standing right now actually used to be a street.
Oh, right here, where we go through to Trinity Square.
Yep. Yeah, there were several streets. One of the interesting conditions was when the mall was built, the city gave the developers a deadline or else they would reclaim all the streets that were to be closed off.
Oh, really?
And one of the other conditions was they had to be kept open as walkways. So you can come in at, one of the things I love about the Eaton Centre is to be able to come in like after hours when all the stores are closed. And you see the people just sort of like wandering around from the end of their night with like no stress, no crowds. It's wonderful to come here like 11 o'clock, midnight.
This is really one of the great people-watching things, right? It's just to hang over the atrium and look at people, look at the crowds coming up these elevators.
And especially to see like the multi-layered effect of like people. It's almost like blood flowing through a body in a way. It's the mall's circulation system.
That's lovely to think of it that way.
Watching people having their conversations, coming from lunch. I remember one time, sort of standing here, and, there was a girl, she was, almost yelling into her cell phone to a friend about how she had just broken up about 5 minutes earlier. You could actually hear the friend from the other end of the line just trying to console her. It was really kind of touching, actually, but it was sort of you couldn't help but feeling sad at the same time. Here's somebody who's obviously in, great emotional distress and trying to, work it out, while they're still down here. The other thing is right here, to say by the Indigo store and the fountain is where the mall would have ended in 1977.
This fountain must be almost due to shoot, eh?
Yeah.
Did you ever make a wish?
Yes.
Did it come true?
Well, yeah, it definitely came true considering I'm getting married in a couple weeks.
Still satisfying.
It is, yes.
Do you often stop to see the water?
We've never been here before.
No, it's our first time here.
Where are you from?
I'm from New Brunswick.
We're all in pharmacy, so it's our spring break up here.
Oh my God, it's coming!
Get ready! Get ready! It's coming!
The suspense right now, though.
I know.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing. Don't see that in PEI.
No.
We got to get really good.
Or Nova Scotia.
One more.
Wow, that was amazing.
Wow, beautiful. Can we get a picture with you so I can show my mom what happened?
Of course. We're all about the action.
No, I want you in it. No, I'm just going to wait for someone. This young girl can just take it.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for the memory.
Do we like it?
Mary Wiens with some newcomers to Toronto, visiting the Eaton Centre, which opened 40 years ago, and hanging out by the fountain. Were you there at the beginning when this thing opened up in 1977? Have you hung out, as we have, with kids at the fountain, waiting for it to fire off into the sky? Call the Vox Box your memories of hanging out at the mall. It's such a rite of passage for so many people. This was downtown, the big mall, and a lot of people spent a lot of time down there. Your memories of hanging out at the Eaton Centre, please, on its 40th anniversary. 416-205-5807, or send us an email. You can find it and all the contact information at cbc.ca/Metro Morning. 11 minutes before 7. Did you hang out at the mall a lot?
I did when I was younger. I know I lived out in Scarborough when I was younger, so heading to the Eaton Centre was a really big deal.
It was a big thing.
So we took my son to the Eaton Centre last Christmas, I believe, and he was fascinated with the fountain. It's the place to go.
I mean, it sounds obvious, but it is kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Memories, please. 416-205-5807. Here's Jennifer.
It is busy on a lot of the major routes right now. There are typical volume delays through Scarborough on the westbound 401 from Morningside over to Kennedy, and again from Don Mills to Bathurst. In the other direction through Mississauga, still slow in the eastbound 401, slow from Winston Churchill to McLaughlin. And if you are heading into the city on the Toronto-bound QEW, it is busy from Southdown to the 427. Eastbound Gardner Expressway slow from Islington to Dufferin. For TTC riders this morning, we do still have that problem. There is a vehicle that's stuck on the rails at Union Station. This is causing the 509 Harbourfront and 510 Spadina streetcars to turn back at Spadina and Queen. TTC says you can take buses at street level instead.
The vehicle is an SUV that somebody drove onto the tracks. Brad Ross has left on Twitter some photos. He speaks for the TTC, some photos of this car, which then the person abandoned with its license plates still on it. So presumably it won't be too difficult to find the person who drove onto the tracks and left the car there because the plates are still there. But if you want to see those photos, cautionary tale perhaps, up on Twitter at Metro Morning.